What's up, what's up? It's your girl, Demetria McKinney from Real Housewives of Atlanta, letting you know that I'm just here. I'm kicking it with my boo, hey boo, DJ Shoeshine. Keep it locked right here. You don't want to miss nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we got the man of the hour right now on the phone in the shoe shop. Man, this guy has produced hits for LSG, Gerald, Levert, Link, you name it, man. Silk, Busta Rhymes, and we're going to talk about that here momentarily. But without further ado, man, my brother, Mr. Darrell, Delite, Allamby, man, I want to welcome you to the show, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you for letting me come on your platform.
Man, most definitely, man. It's definitely, man, a great honor, and just to have yet another legend on the shoe shop wall of fame, you know what I'm saying? It's big for me, you know what I'm saying? So, man, just take me back, man, to the beginning, man. Like, just share with me, man. When did music first begin for you, man?
Oh, man. I would say even from day one, really, because, I was surrounded by musicians. My grandfather is a musician himself, and he played with a lot of really big Latin artists. I'm Panamanian by descent, so I grew up around a lot of like Spanish salsa, merengue, and that's pretty much what I grew up around. So I heard that all throughout my life. And my grandfather was the one who used to say, "Get on the piano and press this button, press this key right here, so I can tune instruments and stuff like that." And that's pretty much what got me into it.
Okay, cool.
And outside of that, my father was a DJ, so I heard so much music growing up. And that's I would say it started probably around, from day one, from the time I could hear music and understand what it was.
Yeah.
I was doing it.
Man, most definitely, man. That's what's up, man. Now, pretty much, everybody has somebody to, follow, in order to chase their dreams and, what they want to do in life. So who's who, before you, far as like in music, just, talk to me about, how they influenced your musical style today.
If I have to credit, it's hard to credit just one person because I kind of looked up to a few people.
Mm-hmm.
One definitely would be Prince, and then as a producer, it was Teddy Riley and Babyface and Jimmy and Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Those were like, the people who I mimicked. I would often sit up when I bought equipment, before I even had a hit record, I would buy equipment and try to duplicate their songs just to try to figure out exactly how they got that sound, just so I can figure out how to get to a point where my music started to sound professional.
Now, just, I got to set the record straight real quick, man. Me and my wife been going back and forth, man. Now, you are the creator of the ghetto pop sound. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
We kept going back and forth about this, man. So, babe, when you hear this, the homie, this is ghetto pop right here. Anytime you hear ghetto pop on the record, you know it's going to be a hit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. What made her think it was somebody else?
Oh, man. Man, she know it's just something about music, man, that just lights the fire in me, man. And she know I'm just pretty much everything, man, from the 50s, 60s, 70s, rock and roll, gospel, man, just music, everything over here at the shoe shop, man. But I had placed a bet with her, so I definitely won that, you know what I mean?
Oh man, you just took some money easily.
But yeah, man, definitely, man. But yo, bro, out of all the platinum, multi-platinum hit songs you've written, co-written, produced on, which one would you say is your favorite, man? If you could just pick one, which one is your favorite and why?
Oh man, that's such a hard question. That's like saying, which one of your children is your favorite? I love all of them.
Right.
I could say which one was the most important to my career, probably. You know what I mean? Because it kind of, if I had to say that, I would say it's My Body. When I produced on My Body, that song was me breaking away from work out. At the time, I was a little bit before that. I was working with Trackmasters.
Yeah.
Who was a really big production crew who did a lot of hit records for everyone from Mariah Carey to Jay-Z to Biggie to Total to, I mean, you name it. They were on it. They pretty much ran the game as far as New York production back in the 90s, all the way up into the early 2000s. But they gave me a platform to learn how to learn and grow. But once I broke away from them, I was able to, get on my own 2 feet and kind of like, test the grounds of, as far as not only producing on my own, but learning how to create a business on my own, like, to build my own publishing company, to sign my own artists and writers and all of that stuff and develop them and kind of help, make my own name and make my own way.
Right.
So My Body was the first song that did that for me. That was the first record that gave people a peek into who I am as a producer, who I am as a songwriter, and where I wanted to go with my sound and my company.
Right. Now, too, man, you hold responsibility in the success of the Busta Rhymes Janet Jackson single, What's It Gonna Be, which is also celebrating 19 years since its release, so I had to put that out there. So, what was the experience like during that time creating that record?
Oh, man, that was an awesome moment, man. First of all, working with Janet, working with any Jackson, period, is already a very high level experience, because inside of you sort of wants to be a groupie, because you're working with somebody who really is like, I grew up watching Janet Jackson, on Good Times and Different Strokes, and then from that, just grew up going crazy about the production and the music that she did as an artist with my favorite some of my favorite producers, Jimmy and Terry Lewis, who I told you earlier that I mimicked and tried to emulate at that time when I was up and coming, when I was learning. They were my teachers without even being there, so just working on that project kind of allowed me to meet her and get a peek at, at what it's like to work with artists on that level, on that tier.
Definitely.
And it was definitely a pleasant situation working with her. I find that after working with her and many other artists who are on that level, that they have a certain level of experience, and the way that they work is very, very professional. So there was less time spent, with a whole lot of going back and forth about this, that, and the other. They really, when they hire you to do a job, they really trust the producer, and they really take direction, and they really allow us to bring to the table what's needed in order to take their record to the next level. Right. Need I say more? Busta Rhymes, he speaks for himself. He's a prolific and very, very incredible MC / video guy. Like what he brings to the video.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It always makes it go to another level. Same with Janet. What they do, separately was already great. So to bring them together, it was just awesome. And it's kind of weird how the whole song even happened, because Busta and Janet already had made this connection with each other, and they were trying to find the right record to be utilized for them both to be on. And at the time, one of Brandy's producers, and good friend of mine, his name's Keith Crouch, we had started working with each other in the studio. I was writing to his production, just writing lyrics to his production with someone else, with one of my writers as well. So And while we were in the studio writing, Busta Rhymes came through, and he stopped by and he was speaking to Keith, and and then we began to talk, and he was like, "Oh, why are you from Brooklyn?" Blah blah blah. And we had mutual friends. One of his producers is a real close friend of mine. His name is Rashad Smith. He produced Hoo Ha. Countless records. I can't even count it. Done tons of hit records. But he had a production company called Tumble and Dice, and we were just rapping and talking and everything, and he asked me. He told Keith Crouch, man, I sent that record again, man. She wasn't really feeling the direction on that beat, and because him and Keith Crouch was actually doing production to get the Busta and Janet thing going, and it just didn't happen. So Busta asked me, right there in front of Keith, is it okay if I get a record from Delite, And Keith gave me his blessings and said, Keith Crouch gave me his blessings and said, it's cool, man, shoot, somebody got to get it, that's a, so wherever it comes from,
right.
So I cooked up a little something, and I played it to Busta. He went crazy over it. It was just a little template. And he came by the studio while I was laying on the rest of the tracks, and I played everything live right there in front of him. And he was like, "Man, I have never heard or seen anything like this in all of my time being in the studio." And we sent the record to Janet, and right away she was like, "Yes, I love it. I can't wait to get on it." And we flew out to the House of Blues studio in Nashville, Tennessee, and that's where we recorded her vocals while she was on her tour. So that's how it all happened, man. It was an out of body experience, I can tell you that, because I couldn't believe, I already had like tons of hit records leading up to that moment. So, I already had LSG, Keith Sweat, Silk, and all of these other records that was doing well. So to just to be working with Janet Jackson was like, wow, I can't believe this is happening.
Right.
So it was pretty cool.
Man, that's what's up, man. And just, that particular sound on that song, man, it just for me, man, it just takes me to a whole nother place, like I'm going into a galaxy, man. So, kudos to you, man, because that song right there, still to this day, man, it still bumps, man. Yeah, it's a special record. It's a special record, and it's one of those things that I can create records all day, but every record has a life of its own. That particular record is special. It has something special on it, and I don't think that even if I tried to, that I could make another one of those. Just like I couldn't make another My Body or another Meeting in My Bedroom or any of those other records. I've always been a true fan of your work, man, and especially, like I say, man, the sound is just a very unique sound. So what inspires the sound that you call ghetto pop?
Well, what inspires the sound that I call ghetto pop is basically it's hood music. Music that comes from soul, music that comes anything from the soul. Because ghetto pop can be rock and roll. It could be R&B. It can be hip hop. But at the end of the day, it's basically black musicians creating music that becomes popular. That becomes popular and holds its integrity without trying to purposely create something to be pushed to the masses. And it's like I didn't have to sell out and do anything that I didn't believe in my heart was good black music to appeal to other audiences. So when the Asian culture or the Latino culture enjoyed listening to KC and JoJo, it was just an extension of love that was being shown to to black music and black culture, which to me I find today a lot of times a lot of artists are going out of their way to please everybody instead of staying true to the foundation of hip hop and R&B and appealing to your audience first,
right?
And then everybody else will hop on board and they'll come along. You know what I mean? That's what rock and rollers do. That's what white artists like Adele does. Like when she's making music, she's not trying to please everybody at first. She's trying to please her audience first. And everybody else kind of, if they rockin', they're gonna rock.
Right.
That's pretty much what ghetto pop is.
Okay, cool, man. Now, bro, every job, I'm going to just use this as an example. Every job that I've worked has had a mission statement behind it, and I'm going to use the Tonight album by Silk, which, ladies, if you don't have that, I need everybody to get that Silk album. Get it back in your catalog, because I lost mine.
Oh, yeah. Go get it.
And I had to get it back in my catalog, so we're going to use this album as an example. So Silk is the greatest job that anybody could have been a part of at that time. The Tonight album, excuse me. So Delite, man, tell me, what would you say was the mission statement for putting this album together, man?
A mission statement?
Yeah.
If I had to create a mission statement, I would say making urban music for the future. Because, and I know people probably don't credit me for what they're doing today. Like how they paid homage to, the greats, the likes of like a Teddy Riley or Timbaland, and Jermaine Dupri and all the above. But if you reflect and you go back to the 90s, the late 90s especially, during that time, before I popped on the scene and started producing joints, there was a different kind of R&B music that was being pushed upon us. It was like Horace Brown.
Yeah.
It was Mariah Carey, all of which I love.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was Joe. It was there was a lot of music out there, but the agenda was different than my agenda. My music was really like music for the lovers, period. And everybody was trying to get in the club and create music to dance to. I was making music for people to make love to, people to get married to, people to chill out and vibe with each other. Intimate music. And I think that was the difference. And I was doing it with a taste, a dab of what my predecessors has done, like Gamble and Huff, and a lot of the great producers of the past that did like the OJs and Gerald, like Levert's dad. People that had that sound, it had an epic sound that was like really big. And I took that sound and that feeling, that spirit, and modernized it and applied it into what became 2000 watt / ghetto pop music.
Right.
And when I created that album, I didn't know that I was embarking upon something that would still be celebrated and loved to this day. Mm-hmm. And I'm very thankful and humbled by it, but I can tell you that I did do it with the mindset of, making something that would last forever. I wanted it to last forever, so I feel like I kind of learned from the best, like going in the studio with Keith Sweat. To me, Keith Sweat is one of those, he's one of those guys where him and Teddy, the album that they did together, that first album with Right in the Wrong Way to Love Somebody, How Deep Is Your Love, and so forth and so on. Those records are so groundbreaking, not just because they're great songs, but production, arrangement, mixing, everything. The utilization of 808 bass, in a time when those instruments weren't even thought to to be used
Right.
at that time.
Right.
You know what I mean? No one was using those instruments, you know, so, you know, what Teddy did with that was groundbreaking, you know, let alone what Keith brought to the table. It was just groundbreaking. And I'm just glad that I was able to, you know, for the baton to be passed to me to allow me to take it to another level. Because had I not had that as a foundation for me to listen to and hear and grow to, I know that, you know, I wouldn't have been able to completely come up with what I came up with, you know, for the music I was doing from, you know, when I started creating records. I really reflected a lot. I learned a lot from the music that I listened to while I was growing up. So that in a nutshell, you know, just working with those great artists made it easy for me to create the sounds that I created. You know, working with Silk especially, that Tonight album was, you know, it was easy. It was too easy.
Right.
First and foremost because I was a fan of their voices, you know, way before I was employed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that in itself made it very, very easy for me to accomplish, you know, a desire to get in the studio and come up with a smash. So once I was in the studio, I literally wrote like skeletons of like 4 or 5 songs, even before I even brought in my co-writers to finish stuff with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even before I got co-producers, like Meeting in My Bedroom, I already had a hook. I had, you know, I wrote all of those choruses and everything sitting at my piano.
Right.
You know, and I called the record label and I was like, man, I got this song. I literally was on the phone with the guy who, his name is Merlin Bob, who was the vice president of A&R at Elektra Records at that time. And when I called him, I was like, man, I got some smashes for Silk. And I played some of the stuff right there, like literally like how we're on the phone. And I got on my piano and I played and sung it to him. And he was like, yo, we got to get you in the studio with them. You know what I mean? And I got on a flight and I was on my way to Dallas to work on Link's album.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was getting ready to leave, you know, one of the guys who was A&R in the album, the Silk album, with me, well, not at that time, it wasn't with me. He was A&R it by himself. He called me up and he says, hey, man, Merlin Bob told me that, you know, I mean, hit you up, man, and see if you could fly to Atlanta to you know, just to meet Silk. And I was like, well, I'm on my way to Dallas. He says, well, how about this? Why don't you fly through Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll pay for your ticket, to, you know, for you to fly through Atlanta, and then you can fly. We can go ahead and have you go ahead, you know, meet the guys right there and then. And literally, I promises before God in heaven, DJShoeshine, that we met each other. And upon meeting each other, we did it at Dallas Austin Studios. Dallas Austin is the producer who produced TLC, all of TLC's smashes.
Yeah.
I went into their studio. They had a session going, and there was a record called "Love Me Down." I was on in the studio, and as soon as I walked into the studio, they had this record going, and they was trying to come up with some lyrics and some melody and stuff. And I was like, you know, I gave my little part. I put my part into it, and I was like, you know, on and on to break it down.
Yeah.
Just wanna love you, please you, touch you. And then they was like, oh man, yeah, that's dope. Let's keep that.
Uh-huh.
And we kept it. And I knew right away I could work with them. I knew right away that the energy was there. The vibe was there, and I played them some of the records I did on Link's album before we had even mixed Link's album, and right then and then they was like, oh man, this dude right here, he got the sound that we're looking for. We need him.
Yeah.
And so with the label's blessings and also their blessings, I booked a studio session in upstate in Connecticut in the mountains. John Bon Jovi's studio. Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Bon Jovi's studio in Connecticut, away from everything. Nobody, no nothing. Just deers, literally deers in the mountains. And I flew the guys in really just to get them away from New York City, because it's too much to get into. It'd be girls at the session. It'd be hanging out. It wouldn't be any focus.
Right,
and it'd be hard for us to get the work done. And I got them secluded, out in the mountains, and just so we could sit down and just come up with the smashes. And we came up with the records we recorded. First song we recorded was "Let's Make Love," which is probably one of my favorite Silk records. And right then and there, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be crazy." I left there. We spent about 6 days in the studio, and I recorded 6 records. Man. For each day, we recorded a record. All of those records made the cut. I went back to the label, and I played them all the records, and right away we knew that it was on.
Yeah. Like I said, man, that "Let's Make Love" track, man, it never gets old. Never. It's just, we're gonna play it here in a little bit for all the ladies out there that's tuning in, so y'all make sure y'all don't miss that.
Oh yeah.
But yo, man, is there anything else you want to share with the people, man? Any advice or anything you want to throw out?
Well, I would say first and foremost, if music is something that you want to be a part of, you gotta be willing to sacrifice your time, because I can tell you, a lot of people think that we just in the studio having a good time partying and this, and this life that really is not true. It's nothing like that. It's far from that. It's a lot of technical work. It's a lot of do it again. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into making these records, and it takes a lot of time. So I say this to anyone up and coming that wants to do this. If this is what you want to do, get ready to leave the clubs alone. Get ready to leave hanging out alone. And if you're in a relationship, get ready to go through hell, because the amount of time that you have to put into creating art, it takes away from everything else that's going on in your life. Everything. Like you can't even imagine. You can't create a Michael Jackson Thriller and be kicking it with your wife all day. And hanging out with your buddies, going to the bar, going to the clubs to hang out. It doesn't happen with those kind of records. It doesn't happen with a 12 play for R. Kelly. It doesn't happen with a Tonight for Silk, with a Busta and Janet. That you can hear dedication when you hear those songs. And my biggest advice is to be willing to separate yourself from whatever it is that you're doing for a certain amount of time, so that way you can come up with the body of work needed to present to the masses, so that way you can create some time for yourself in the future. You know what I mean? Like, I just knew that if God allowed me to live long enough, I'd be able to enjoy the music I made and have the time to really sit back and chill. And now while I'm doing music, it's a little different. I do it on my terms. I do it on my time. And my time isn't sucked up into just music. Now I can, go to my daughter's school and pick her up.
Right.
Help her with homework and stuff. I couldn't do that back when I was creating all of that stuff. That wouldn't have happened. Mm-hmm. That's why I didn't have kids. I didn't have those things going on in my life at the time. It was just strictly music.
Mm-hmm. Cool, man. Now, I got to take it back just a quick second, man. It just popped up in my brain, man. You and Gerald Levert, man, when Gerald Levert was living, created a lot of heat, man. I know the Gerald Levert album, Love and Consequences. Yeah, 1998, man. You did some work on that, man. Just working alongside Gerald Levert, man. What was that experience like?
First of all, working with Gerald, anybody that knows Gerald, anybody who's met Gerald Levert, everyone has the same story. Everybody walks away saying, Gerald was my band, Gerald was my friend, Gerald was great, he was unapologetically honest, he had this infectious laugh, everything about it is true. But I could tell you, he was beyond that, man. He was a really great guy. He loved his children, he loved his family, and he loved his friends. And when he considered you his friend, he was down with you forever. You know what I mean? Like his whole campaign behind work was really not just for him. It was for him and everyone a part of him. You know, all the people that worked with Gerald on the road, his musicians, his bodyguard. His bodyguard's name is Big Joe. Then you got Tony Nicholas, who was one of his longtime collaborators in the studio, as well as his MD, his musical guy on the road. Everybody, you know, background singers, everything that was going on. His uncle was his hype man. You know what I mean? It just gets no better than that. You know, his brother, who passed away as well, was also one of his partners on the stage and on the road. So every time you saw Gerald Levert on stage at a show, you were looking at his family. You was looking at his legacy. Every generation, everything right there on stage. So if someone wanted to off his whole entire family, it would have been easy. You have to go to a Gerald Levert show.
Yeah.
The whole family was there, and 9 times out of 10, Pops was in the back, you know, from OJ's.
Yeah.
Papa Levert was in the back somewhere hanging out, you know, and sometimes he was opening up to them. So sometimes he was sitting in for his pops, you know, when his pops was sick or couldn't make the date or something.
Yeah.
It was just a real family affair, and I learned a lot from that brother. He taught me how to treat people, how to work hard, and also he taught me how to take care of my business.
Right.
He showed me how to take care of my business. That's the best friend I have in the entire music business. You know what I mean? And I miss him terribly. There's not a day that doesn't go by where I don't think about him. I don't play his music much because sometimes it hurts me to hear his voice and not being able to see him physically. But he was definitely like, he was one of those people. You know what I mean? I spoke to him, you know, hours before he passed away. You know, so, you know, like literally it was just a few hours. He just landed from coming in from Africa, from working like crazy, and he was excited. He was like, man, I was in Africa. This is the first time I did a whole bunch of shows in Africa ever, and you know, I can't believe that they love Gerald Levert in Africa. I was like, yeah, man, shoot, that's black music, and you black. Yeah, they love you. And we was working on some stuff. I was writing some music. I was in the middle of writing, and that next morning I called, and when I called, his uncle answered the phone, and he said, Delite, man, I got bad news for you, bro. He said, Gerald passed away. And I'll never forget that moment, man. I was like, man, stop playing, man. I was like, stop playing like that. That's a bullshit, excuse my French, but that's a horrible joke. And he was like, I'm not joking, D. He's like, Gerald, he's gone, man. He passed away. And it hit me. It hit me, you know, it hit me bad. You know, and my life wasn't the same for a while, you know, because he was my go-to person, like many of his friends. Many of his friends, you know, they were all depending upon him for everything, for advice, for work, for everything, you know what I mean, for support, for love, you know what I mean. And in this business, that's the one thing that it lacks a whole lot of. Everybody works with each other, but everybody don't love each other.
Right.
So when you surrounded with all that love that brother generates and puts off into the atmosphere, it's bound to be success that breeds from it, because his music was infectious and the love he had was big. You know what I mean? Everyone loved him. You know,
just the history, the chapters that you left in the R&B books, man. Working with that man is grand. You know what I'm saying? So, big salute to you on that, man.
Yeah, thank you.
So, man, the fans, talk, they always want to follow, want to keep up, with the celebrities and all that good stuff. So, how can the new fans keep up with you, far as like on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook?
Well, on Twitter, they can get me at Darrell Delite, that's DARRELLDELITE. On Instagram, you can get me at Darrell Delite TV. That's at DARRELLDELITE TV, like television. And that's the best way to get up with me. And I do check in my inbox. I'm not one of those uppity music producers who don't, at least research when you send me a DM and you have some music you want me to listen to. I do click on people's pages and I look at it. And I do look at it. So if you got that stuff, that good stuff,
yeah,
and I'm not talking about 90s sounding music. I'm talking about period. Good music, period. Any genre, any kind, I do pay attention.
That's what's
so
up.
Just hit me up, and I will get back with you. But I do say this, man, I got some special things that I'm working on right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Shoeshine, and once I'm finished with those things, man, I'm gonna be calling upon, especially you DJs, man. We need you DJs. Let's say that first and foremost. These artists have to learn how to love the DJs. They don't understand how important DJs are to the culture of music. Music, period. You guys keep us alive. And you guys allow us to be in places where we can't be.
Right.
To display our art. You guys are art displayers. You know what I mean? You're always constantly playing and pushing play for audiences to hear our music and have a good time with our music. So I salute you guys greatly, and I appreciate you guys greatly, because my career wouldn't be anything without, you guys who stood behind my art and played it and allowed people to have a good time with my music. So again, I just say this, humbly and honestly, you guys are that important. So you artists out there, y'all better start taking care of these DJs. You know what I mean? Bigging them up, shouting them out, and when they break your record, come back, do a show for them for free so they can make some money. Break bread with them, show them some love. You know what I mean? Help them develop themselves and take their stuff to other levels and other heights too, like the DJ MCs and the Funk Master Flexes have done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's still a lot of room out here for more of those type of DJs. And I believe that Mr. DJ Shoeshine is one of those DJs that is going to become that as time begins to build and go on. So again, salute to you, bro.
Man, I appreciate the love 100, man. But man, these ladies is going crazy right now, man. So we finna go ahead and get on this ghetto pop marathon. So we got nothing but the best from my homie, Mr. Ghetto Pop, Darrell Delite, Allamby, man. Production, the hits,
yes,
all coming up right here on the hottest radio show on the web at Shoeshine Radio. Y'all keep it locked. Check out this full episode in its entirety on mixcloud.com/DJShoeshine in the mix, or on the official Shoeshine Radio podcast on iTunes. The Shoeshine Radio. Hey, yo!
DJ Shoeshine.